family, Iridium. Hope you're doing all right today. Album review time. So I'm a bit behind on this one. There's a reason for it. The band's called Heartland and the album's called Into the Future. So as far as I can see, the last album from this band came out a long time ago, 14 years ago. I think I got that right. They were formed in 1990. This album comes out on Escape Music and it came out on October the 15th. It's got 12 tracks. The reason I'm behind on it is because it didn't get released straight away onto Spotify. And that's where I listen to and review all my music from. Now, a lot of people are probably thinking, why don't you just buy it? Well, I couldn't afford to buy everything I review, and I need to review as much as I can. So that's just to let you guys know. I know Spotify ain't for everyone, and it's just one of those things. It's a way of the world, and I wouldn't be able to review near enough music that I do on Spotify. It's just good for me. So there you go. And I've been waiting for it to come out. It's come out on Spotify. I've got it straight away because I've been hearing so many good things about this band. This is their 10th album, and I haven't heard them once. They're melodic hard rock, and man, this album is fantastic. I've been reading reviews of this album, but totally ignored. I knew it was coming out on Spotify, so I waited. I didn't go on YouTube or anything. I wanted to listen to it in a couple of sittings, and man, it really deserves everything it got in those reviews. So you've got Chris Alsey on vocals. Now, this guy has been in a lot of bands, but I've never heard his voice before. Like I've said before, especially in the 90s, the melodic hard rock stuff I probably veered away from a little bit more, and I'm getting to hear a lot of that stuff now that I missed. Chris Alsey is known as the man with the golden tonsils. That's his little nickname in the music world. And man, he deserves it. He's got a fucking brilliant, soulful tone to his voice. He's got some range. Everything about his voice I love. He's in that sort of, I'd say, I'm not saying he sounds exactly the same, but if you're talking about soulful voices, you talk Jolene Turner, people like that. He's in that range, and he's got a bit of a rasp to his voice as well. Mike Slammer, who also I've heard bits and pieces from on the guitar. He's been in the band Seventh Key, Stillhouse Lane as well. He's a brilliant guitarist, and I think he's doing most of the lead guitar on here. Man, he's such a busy guitarist. The vocals and the guitar on this album, man, are just top notch. But I'll tell you what wins overall on this album is the songs. The songwriting is fantastic. You've also got a guy called Ged Rylands. He's been in bands called 10. I've heard of them, British band. Ty Ketto as well. He's on the keys. Barish Kepik on the guitar and keys. So I'm not sure how much of the guitar he does along with Mike Slammer. But there's guitaring on this album that's just brilliant all the way through. Wayne Banks on the bass and David Anthony on the drums. Lucky I said Wayne Banks ran the right way, wasn't it? Anyway, so the bass guitarist and the drummer are also brilliant. And this is a fucking excellent album. And I'm telling you what, this is just, I'm hoping it gets some traction. Like I said, there's loads of good reviews out there of this album. But how many people, hopefully, are into melodic hard rock that are still going to buy this album and see this band if they play live or whatever? But they're great. They're a great, great band. And this album is fantastic. What I did notice about this album, I played it once yesterday and then I played it again today. First time around, everything about it I loved. I immediately loved it. But the hooks sort of slowly brought me in as I was listening to the songs. And then when I put it on today, I was singing the choruses before they came on, and it hooked me like that. Not first time around, but somehow it sort of must have driven into my brain while I was asleep or something. And the hooks were there second time around, and they are massive all the way through. This is a real guitar-driven, soulful vocals, but brilliant songwriting band. Absolutely fantastic. You're going to love this album. Everyone who watches this channel who likes the heavy rock and melodic hard rock, get this. Guaranteed you'll love it. Kicking off the album, Foreign Land. When the past is a foreign land, no regrets, just an outstretched hand. This was an actual single which I missed for some reason and didn't react to it. I wish I did now. It's got a synth melody start to it. And then the guitar comes in, sort of mimicking that sort of synth, and you think, yeah, this is going to be great. They've got it just at the right level. The synths are quite high in the mix, but the guitar's the main focus on this, which I love, obviously. This is a medium pace song. And then when you, let me tell you now, when you first hear the vocals, they're going to blow your mind. They're so soulful. They pull you in. He sounds amazing from the first note to the last. Chris Halsey's an amazing singer. I love the bass line here. It sort of drives the track with sort of slammers guitars coming in and out. A fantastic song to start with, and a bit of an unusual song, I would say. It's like, doesn't sound like an opener. Although I love the song, it just doesn't sound like an opener, but it's a fucking great song nonetheless. Caught Up is the second track. This is a real rocking track. Gives you a slight classic rock vibes here, with Hammond organ as well. A couple of tracks have got that Hammond organ, but quite far deep in the mix. It's a great riff riding along those verses. Again, just fantastic. A Living Thing is next. This is where we have a ballad. This is sort of sounds like an AOR, near enough a ballad. It's sort of stuck in between that sort of ballad and AOR track. It really shows off the soulful vocals of Halsey completely in this one. It's a beautiful slice of melodic rock. The keys here are sort of perfect, so tasteful. A great, great track. Giving It All Away is next. A piano start, and we sort of get a rocked up AOR track here. It's sort of got those sensibilities of an AOR track, but with guitar, like higher in the mix, if you like. Man, Halsey again is amazing. He has a very slight rasp to his voice, and you can hear it a lot in this song, but throughout, he's got an amazing vocal. It's just worth the purchase on his voice and the guitar alone. But everyone in the band is just knocks it out of the park, honestly. I love the keyboard player. I just think what he does on this album is just, like I said, so tasteful. I'm not the biggest keyboard fan, but obviously in this melodic hard rock, you need it in there. A melodic AOR, whatever you want to call it, melodic rock. But he just does it so well. It just adds everything to these songs. A Dangerous Game is next. This one has a very cool feel to it. I try to pinpoint influences while I'm listening to this, but it's not easy. They have their own sound. They've got the melodies of the 80s, and nowadays there's a lot of melodic bands out there at the moment. Remember, it's more than ever, of the 80s and maybe the early 90s, but have a real fresh feel as well. Climbing Your Wall is next.
I will remember when my past was still my future. I close my eyes and it's so easy to recall.
Great guitar riff kicking this one off, and we get quite a heavy, chuggy feel to the verses. Also, it gives me Toto feels as well. There's a few bands lately sort of giving me that classic Toto feel. Halsey again. I don't know what to say about his voice, but man, you've got to hear it. Amazing. If you haven't already, there's a lot of people out there that would know him, but he's got a great voice. Mouth to Mouth is next. This is a little bit bluesy, classic rock feels to this. Hammond organ here in the background again. A real simple but sort of effective chorus on this one. Slammer really puts the groove into this one. He's so busy on the guitar. Absolutely love the song. Not Guilty is next. Man, the band really put all their soul into this one. You have a really cool guitar riff with Halsey's raspy vocals and a huge chorus. This is really cool stuff. I love the way the synth sort of sounds in this one, and it sort of rides along with those brilliant guitar melodies at the same time. Fantastic song, Not Guilty. One of my favourites. Bolt from the Blue is next. This is probably the fastest track on offer. For some reason, I get Jolene Turner Rainbow feels on this one. Because they did a few fast songs, even with Jolene Turner. It's a good track, but I think my medium-paced weird obsession with rock music sort of makes this my least favourite track. Although it still has class written all over it. White Lies is next, and we go from that track to one of my favourites. Keys are great here, working sort of perfectly alongside the guitar. It's a great balance this band have got. Again, Halsey's vocals are outstanding. This is sort of a great AOR track, one of the standout tracks for me. Working for the Man is next, a great hard rock track with slightly bluesy influence, slightly. I'll never say their songs are blues completely. They just got little touches, just like your great favourite bands from the 80s and 90s did. Slammer is on fire in this song though. Just amazing work from him. A real fun track working for the man. Track 12 is next. So we get 13 tracks altogether, which is a good buy. When the band plays.
I'm only happy when the band plays. Won't see me dancing till the lights are in.
The 80s feel is ramped up here though, and these guys, even though the guys weren't around in the 80s, the early 90s, but they obviously were influenced a lot by those times. A very cool guitar driven track with some very cool synth infused melodies. Goes without saying, the vocals are outstanding again. And Sleeping with the Lights On ends the album. A great track to end on as well. Real rocking, finishes the album off. This just about sums up what you've heard though, all across this album. The band are on fire, all of them. The album deserves all the praise, like I said, it's got. This is a great song to end a brilliant album. Man, if you like this soulful, melodic hard rock, you're going to love this album. And if you're a guitar player, you're going to love this album. If you're a vocalist, they are just smashing it out of the park. You've got to check this one out. It's available everywhere now. Heartland, Into the Future. Check it out. I'll see you next time.